We lost over 200 or 300 of cattle within those areas, which some of them were slaughtered and with various forms of clashes. None of these circumstances is worth the life of any farmer or any herdsman. But if we need to come back to tell ourselves the truth, is that we have an institutional failure. Why did I say institutional failure? There are two very important departments in Federal Ministry of Agriculture: the Department for Livestock and Animal Husbandry, arable farming, food security, and the rest. Every year we have budget from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, specifically on livestock. These livestock departments are supposed to provide information and incentive and change the perception and the programs for livestock to make it much easier. The grazing reserve we have was established before our independence and gazetted. Now, out of the 423 or 428, it has shrinked to 132. We had 386 water tributaries that are attached to these grazing reserves. Now, as I speak with you, we had only functional 92 water tributaries. The Benue State, the River Benue and River Niger has not been desealed. So those areas that are already been silted stops the tributaries to those ponds. A cow, an average cow, a horse, a donkey, or a camel can stay for 21 days without adequate food, but cannot spend a day without water. So the crisis we have in our hands is as a result of effect of lack of water, scarcity of resources, which of course has escalated to this.
So would you say it's also climatic conditions?
Yes, of course. Then we have Federal Ministry of Environment. I'm trying to control my emotions as I talk here. We have Federal Ministry of Environment that will drop their budget. Today, with your phone, you can tell the weather in Suriname, off the coast of Netherlands, from your telephone. You can tell the weather and know the environment of what is happening in Kumasi, or in Aflao, from your telephones. But how come we do not have the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and the Federal Ministry of Environment coming together to look at the fact that it is no longer convenient for Nigeria, for farmers or the herdsmen to use telephone, listen to radio, but yet he has to trek from Gashua to Umahia, or he has to trek from Sokoto to Enugu, Emene, or Ekebenago, in view of looking for where to sell his cattle or also graze them, looking for greener pasture. At 21st century, that will not work. Then the things that are attached to those your gazetted area has been overtaken by human existence. People are now living in those areas. The water are no longer available. Our populations are growing. As at the time the grazing reserves were established, we are less than 12 states in Nigeria. Then lives has lost, yet we are playing with semantics. Somebody is coming to talk about colony. There is nowhere, anywhere in the world. Take it from California, Stockton, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Brazil, where they have anything called colony. But first of all, can we describe Nigerian cow? We'll have the white Fulani. We have the Boloro, we have the Sokoto Budali, yeah, and all that there. And the Mutul, the South African cow, which is the Mutul, which you see within Ogoja, Eyala, Obudu, and the rest here. These are dwarf cows, highly very resistant to sandflies and the rest here. Our cows are the most ugliest looking cows in the world. The only good thing about our cows is that it has a very strong leather. Our leader can stay for 17 years because from the day the cow is born, he's been trekking all his life. The cow treks all the way from Gashua or from Megateria or from Miadoa and finds his way down to the south. Lagos State is the biggest consumption point of livestock here,
And they
consuming about 211 trucks of cows every week. An average cow truck is 35 cows if it is Boloro. If it is White Fulani, it takes 30. I mean, it takes 30. If it is Sokoto Gudali, that's about 35 too, and all that there. Our tannery industries, the value chain in cows is beyond just meat. You get buttons, you get leathers. When a full cow is slaughtered, you have the capacity to get out 54 school sandals from a cow, the cow skin. I'm just talking about school sandals for our children here. But in this country, we eat them on the name called Pomo. We have any legislator. There is no program to say, okay, these are national policies on livestock. Coming to it here, 72 people were buried in Nigeria. One will ask whether if we're at war. On average, the life of one Nigerian is so important. Now, but what is the body languages of those who we call our leaders? 72 people were being buried in Benue State over this. The Honorable Minister for Agriculture was commissioning an egg center in Ondo State. It shows that, I mean, it just goes, we lost it. We have no value attachment to human lives in Nigeria anymore. Now, we are thinking about next election, but not the next generation. And this is where I am so concerned. Today, we look at the ratio is 285 Nigerians to one cow. The cows we consume in Nigerians are not our cows. Because there is nowhere in Africa where 15 billion naira worth of food is consumed every day, apart from Lagos. Followed by Port Harcourt. Next is Ibadan. And then the fourth is Kano. We are the most populated country in Africa. Therefore, food intake is high here. But are there our foods? No. Let me even leave the cattle we're talking about. What of the common grains? Is 11.5 million metric tons of rice consumed in the whole of Africa. Nigeria alone is consuming 7.8 million metric tons of rice. Local production is 2 million metric tons. By this year, it declined by 1.1. But to at the table of what is being known, we're being told that the rice production has gone up. Now, how will it go up? How will it go up when we have 42% of farmers who did not participate in this year's agricultural activities as a result of insecurity? Inevitably, this country is under siege. That by the time the rain commences, we'll find out that we have no seedlings to put back in our farm. We will need to find only how we can get a psychologist that will be able to convince farmers who have lost their loved ones to go back to a farm. If you're a widow or you don't have your wife anymore, he's being killed in your farm, there is no any form of psychology that you can go down and have your head bent to do any form of work in the place there. The memory will always recall. This I can tell. But today, realities is dawning on us. Reality is dawning on us. It's no longer the whole Abalua bumper harvest. Farmers are the ones, the number of farmers were those who went to Hajj. The Anchor Brewers program works. Any man who does things the same old way and expects a new result, something must be wrong with the person. That is the high level of insanity.
Now, what solutions are you proffering? There are no places in the world where there are cattle colonies. We've established that. But what also came to my mind, I actually asked myself, if there are no places in the world, perhaps Audu Ogbe, who is the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, is trying to profile something new, as it were. What are the solutions right now? Because in some other developing economies, even, you know, we don't see cattle go around the way they go around in Nigeria. I do know that even pastoralists, some of the character of pastoralists here in Nigeria, we also have them in some other parts of Africa, like Kenya, for example, even Tanzania, for example. There are some people that use the AK-47, I think in Tanzania, yeah, in the AK-47 to guard their cows. Very, you know?
Nancy,
what are the solutions?
Nancy, I think the first African countries that the president paid a visit was Kenya. Kenya is the center of the highest value chain center for milk in the world, which in Swahili is called Ihiri. And he went there with the Honorable Minister for Agric. One was to understudy how wild as the Messiahs able to live in peace. Now, one of the major crises today, even in Rwanda, what has to do with this. But ours has a different dimension altogether, in the sense that we have over 375 borders across this country, ungoverned spaces in Nigeria, that we cannot in any way tell this is where they are coming here. The biggest market in Africa for food consumption is here. The scarcity to support the market is not available. But you ask, what is the solution? The very moment you have a challenge and you are not looking at business opportunities in need, then of course you're not worthy of living. There is business opportunities for us in this place here. Over 5 billion has been spent on Empower. The biggest employer of labor is agriculture, next to mining. Just establishment of private and government-owned ranches, bringing in crush, will promote vet doctors, increase our milk qualities.
Quality, yeah.
The meat, the beef content of our cows will increase.
Improve, yeah.
Now, I want to say it here, and I stand to be correct. I mean, I stand by any institution. 47% or 42% of the cows we eat in the market are diseased.
Yeah.
In anywhere in the world, you are supposed to provide the medical history of any livestock that you need to slaughter or cull, if we need to use the word. But here in Nigeria, antibiotics are injected into the livestock, and it's been the only thing that is serving Nigeria where we are is that we give thanks to firewood. If it is not the heat which we use in cooking our meat here, only God knows the kind of diseases we have. We've got more cancer patients than we've had before during in the 70s and 60s. Now, halal are not being respected. What is halal? Halal is the art of slaughtering animals and hanging it for 8 hours. Islamically, it's there.
Yeah.
Biblically, it is there. You cannot eat a cow today and consume it today, because you need average of 8 to 12 hours to get it the blood drained out here. But our livestock are slaughtered and carried in a Vespa. The man will put his legs here, he litters the blood, he goes to the place where by the time he gets to the table, one hand has a fly, one other hand has a butcher and all that there. Who satisfies this animal? Nobody. Yet we have is complete institutional failure to Nigerians over this here. And then you ask yourself, now why do we have these people? And in a country where there is no R&P, reward and punishment, we go nowhere. If we're not driven by knowledge, I came in here, I've been trying to hold my emotions. I've been trying to find ways that, I mean, when you lose it, you look as if you're just, losing it here. But am I a proud Nigerian? I'll tell you no. Let me bring this to maybe people who don't know here. Between the month of January 2016 and 2017, 3,836 Nigerians left the shores of this country to Canada. Professionals, not people they picked from the street here. The very moment you can prove that you're a professional, the very moment our doctors, 72 doctors resigned from UCH, Ibadan. They're all in Saudi Arabia and they're in Canada. And what is going to happen to our own? Between December and between December 31st and 1st of January, 2,010 children were given birth in this country, recorded from the hospital. What of those that were born in Ivo or Oboka that do not know, that there was no any records on them here? Those statistics were not there by UNICEF. What are we talking about? We'll have an increment. By next week, my president will be going to Addis Ababa for AU meeting to discuss what? When we're under siege, when we've got more refugees in Nigeria than in South Sudan, are we at war? If we're at war, then it's let us know. We've got 12 million children out of school. Our economy is dependent on one product. The four lines are back. by the month of April, June, the price of food, only God knows how it's going to get to. That's when the result will come to us. You don't lie with you don't play politics with your food security. People can't move, yet they can't be in the farm. They cannot be in the farm, they cannot take out what they have cultivated. They cannot take out what they have cultivated. The resources for them to meet the essence of governance is the protection of life and property. I stand, if there's any other definition of governance, please, can somebody let me know?
To join the conversation, it's free of charge. Go to Twitter, follow me, Nancy Ilo, drop your comments. You can also find and follow the show at Moneyline, AIT, and drop your comments. I did say that the council said that it will engage key stakeholders representing the core sectors of the food value chains, and regular consultations will be held with investors, development partners, financiers, and the rest of you. So tell me what you think.
Well, I'm trying to look for the right adjective to use. In the inauguration of this Food Security Council that was being inaugurated by the president, you don't second fiddle the farmer and the stakeholders. Why is no farmer being part of this council? I mean, the executive council, I mean, the council inaugurations. Between December 31st and January 1st, Nigeria lost over 134 of our rural farmers.
How did you know that? Which data are you quoting?
Farmers herdsmen clashes.
How did, which data are you quoting?
73 in Goma, Logo, in Benue State. We have 35 between Ahoda, Alo, and Umoko. We have about 56 between Taraba and Adamawa. These are rural farmers that we know about. We lost 43 metric tons of agricultural yam seedlings in the middle beds.
How do you come about your data?
Now,
no, Mr. Madlion, how do you come about your data? That's what I'm asking.
There are provisions of seedlings provided by the Yam Farmers Association in Vandike in Lese, which has not been paid for. It's been provided to them through cooperatives. So we understand, we knew the new variety of tubers of yam that have been provided to these farmers. Now, these farmers are mainly they pay for these seedlings only when it is being, when they have harvested. But so now those yam seedlings got back to us that is being burnt at the BAMs. Now the last visit we were meant to do was to preserve, to give them the preservative, what we call adrenaline dust, which is you have to apply it last before you put in the yam seedlings. So we're saying what we know because we're on ground. We don't just pick up figures from up.
And I wonder where up is.
Yes, no, we don't just pluck figures and all that here. You inaugurated Food Security Council meeting. The only person I didn't see in this place was the Federal Road Safety people, the sector commander of the Federal Road Safety.
Why?
But I mean, I didn't see, I begin to wonder what the Chief of Army Staff,
Chief of
Defense Staff and all that there. Yes, you might bring them in. I don't know what is in the mind of the here, but will you shave a man's head in his absence? We are discussing the critical naval point of a nation, which is food security. And this food security has been in turmoil since last year till now. We have total decline of farmers' participations as a result of insecurity. Farmers are no longer going to farm. Farmers are not, farmers are the ones being kidnapped. Farmers are the highest victim of insecurities all over the country. We thought it was a Zamfara, Kaduna problem. But only for we to now realize that there is no, even down to the deltas are having issues. The Kogi are having issues here. Tell me. Now, the biggest victim of this whole thing here is the farmer. And then you are now putting up, inaugurating a council. You didn't pick up farmers from the Metiala. You didn't pick up farmers who are into cultivations. He didn't look at those who are into tractors. He didn't bring in institutions, research institutions relative to food security in the country.
No, but would this be also an unfair statement to the government that has tried to bring together this council, Food Security Council, and it did say that it will engage key stakeholders representing the food value chain? So we expect that perhaps as time goes on, they would engage with all the stakeholders involved.
What is the stakeholders?
You are saying that the stakeholders should be part
of. Yes, that's to me. That's it here. First of all, the attention nations must give to food. You don't play politics with it here. There's nowhere, because you don't go to any of our market and you see our watermelons or our egusi bearing PDP or APC and all that there. When it comes to food security, it is something nations mustn't play with. Let me say this to you. You might also ask me where this came in from, but this is from FAO. There are 49 countries that are going to face starvations. Nigeria is number 9 in the ranking. Between the border between Niger State and Kaduna is Talfa. Now, between Talfa and Birnin-Gwari, Zaria, and probably Paki or Mishawa, you have more than 3,826 farming families in Kaduna alone. We have total decline of the number of agricultural participation, farmers' participation as a result of single thing, insecurity. I'm in Kaduna. My farm is in a place called Duse, shortly after the NYC camp, 7 kilometers into the road. My partner is my wife. She runs the poultry sections. We have 34,000 laying birds in the place that we were forced to sell them even when they were still laying, because sometimes we can't even find our way to go and feed the birds as a result of insecurity. The Kaduna-Abuja road here is a den for kidnappers. You can't go to the mosques in northern Nigeria and come out and you'll be safe, probably to walk back to your house. Birnin-Gwari, just the other day, the protectors of some of us who find our way to go and buy grain. Birnin-Gwari is one of the places you can have yellow maize. In fact, from Buruku down to Kuriga, which is under Chukum, down to Alawa, then Birnin-Gwari, you have one of the most finest yellow maize you can get in West Africa, grown in those areas here. Farmers in those areas don't go to, because in between 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock is unpassable roads.
11 a.m. to
11 a.m. in the morning, yes, you can't pass there. Now, if 75% of Nigerian populations are rural dwellers, and they do nothing that subsistence agriculture, who have to bring out 1 bag of maize or bring out 2 chicken to sell, to pick up medical bills, pay school fees, and then you want us to grow our food, you want us to grow what we eat and eat what we grow, and then you inaugurated committees that you brought in emperors and put them in as to look after our food security. What are they securing? What do they know? Ask any of those people in those committees, how many days does it take to grow rice? How many days what does it take you to get out yam seedlings?
You are talking about the governors now and
yes,
the president.
Yes,
himself.
And
the
food security. Then I'm really very shocked and surprised that he knew very well that in Food Security Council, nominations, you should have the Metiala people, which of course have conflict with the farmers. The farmers associations, they have good association. They have the cassava association. You can pick up rice farmers association, AFAN presidents and all that there. All these people should be part of the initial inauguration, not for you to say, okay, these other people will now appoint them. We know very well that the state governors in this place have constituted themselves as emperors in their state. Putting food on the tables of Nigerians are not things that you need to hand over or play politics with. It's speculated that we have over 2 million live cattle in Nigeria. That is not true. We have the worst looking cows in the world. About the level, our production ratio in terms of beef, milk, health qualities of our cows is wrong. It's bad. 42% of Nigerian cows that we slaughter in the market are diseased. Yet, you are putting up a very important council of such as food security. You don't bring in professionals, the Metiala. Is there any vet doctor there? Do you have any agronomists in this place? That will actually come and say that when you are given a brief of what the council is expected to come in here, professionals should be part of it to say, okay, this is what we intend to achieve in 6 months, this year farming season, this year dry season. I am sad. This shows no. You talk about replacement of our aging farmers with young farmers. Who is the youth that you have inaugurated that will now be the face of those who want to take agriculture as a profession?
So you're saying in essence that the federal government got it wrong from the outset, right?
Yes, up totally, and it smells doom.
You think that this council will not do anything at all? Because they would engage, you think they would not?
No, of course. I stand to be proven wrong.
Even to improve the security architecture around the country?
There is no foundation before the architecture. I mean, I don't want to be any diplomatic about saying this, but the present situation we have today in protection of life and properties, the government has failed us. You asked me, those coffins that were buried in Benue State, are they empty coffins? 73 people are not 73 firewood. In a farm, if 73 chicken dies in your farm, the veterinary they must come in to check whether if it's an avian influenza. It's not a joke. Now, life means nothing in Nigeria. We have attached no any value to life. Somebody is saying the security situation is getting what? A single soul of a Nigerian is as important as anything. And then we now have a section of a profession that is now being seen as an extinct, going extinct as a result of insecurity. In Cross River, there is no peace. In Oron, our hope for crayfish, there is no peace. If the Shandams are not coming in from Cameroon to attack the farmers, then there is communal clashes. In where the plantain are coming in from is between Uromi, Ubiaji, Akukwedo, and the rest here, Ososo. The women are wailing. Between Nsuka Harmony, Opi, in that place here, people sleep with their eyes open. Can you sleep opening your eyes? The hope for Egusi and tubers that supports Benue State, which is Taraba, there is crisis. The primary responsibilities of every given government is the protection of life and properties. There is no any investment that you can provide or that can come in. We are discussing money show. We are discussing investment. Agriculture that we are discussing in Nigeria, where 90% of what we do is hoe and cutlass.
Now tell me what solutions you would prefer to tackling this headers farmers crisis, because it seems, okay, just earlier on I did say that the Commissioner for Agriculture in Benue State said that Benue has lost about 8 billion naira due to this herdsmen attack. Talk to me about...
I hope you asked him how did he get the figure, because he will tell you the number of taxes paid by, the highest payer of taxes in Nigeria is the farmer. He pays for what they call commodity taxes. He pays for transportation. He's the one that sustains the market. The market officers collects money from him for bringing his goods to that. All this is what comes into the local revenue, IGR of
even the Moneyline and co in
yes, and all
State.
that here. And then we're talking about women participation in agriculture. Is there any woman among this council? If you take out the women in Nigeria who sit at the back of pickup to go to what they call bush market, you won't see any condiment in the tables of this country. Coming to say solutions here, you cannot use 1960 concept or programs to want to solve a problem that has shown its ugly head in 21st century. The Ministry of Agriculture has failed Nigerians in letting us know very well that open grazing is no longer sustainable. The population has grown. Now, you have 33 water tributaries between Logo, where we had this major crisis. it's been the tradition that at every given time, you have cattle moving in that will come in all the way from the Mambela, from Taraba, and that is the axis they come in to take water. Now, one of the most fantastic hay, good for livestock, is found between Ugumale, Utonkom, Ihamufu, and then some part of Kasinala. Now, that is the grass that has something like tiger north. Now, it's only when the cattle takes that, especially the bull, that it is like an aphrodisia. So mating takes place between the Taraba and then down to the stop, which is Emene or Ekebenabo in Emene, I mean in Enugu State. Yes. Now, they start moving back once the rain commences between April and May, and they need to cross over to this same Lagu, Guma, because then the water level within the River Benue will not go beyond 2, 3, 5, 6 meters. So the cows can walk through them then. But at this point in time, it is no longer the 483 grazing reserve, 435 grazing reserve that you have has been overtaken by human activities. Silt. These are designed when Nigeria were less than 12 states. Now we're 36 states with a population of near 200 million. The Federal Ministry of Environment has also failed in their responsibilities in letting, or today, I can go to anywhere in the world without asking for an address. There's what is called Google Map. There's what is called Geographical Information Data Systems. Go to these ministries, money appropriated to them on these whole things we're talking about today, for you to say, okay, listen, we're using the satellite data imagery systems to create the grazing program, so that you can have them comfortable, fantastic place for grazing. Eleman in Jigawa State, having fantastic, good water body. You can drill a borehole in Elema in Jigawa State with 25,000 naira. So water is very important, because an average cow takes between 28 to 35 liters of water every day. Yeah. Now, haze. Now, the farmer who grows, you might be a farmer, all you do is to grow haze. For the year. So the man buys them, then we can now have what is called proper pricing. The first place that the first African country the president visited was Kenya. When he came in as the president, now to look at why are the Maasai, the Kikuyus, why did they hibernate together without this crisis? Because they have gone through this same thing the farmers and herdsmen are going through. They came back. What was the implementation of it? Then they should ask those who went with the president to return the money that they collected as Esther codes. Because what they went there to see is not being seen. Yet we are losing lives every day. By the time I walk out of this studio today, let's watch the news. You probably would have known how many people that have been kidnapped, killed, and or maimed in various farms here. Are we talking about Nasarawa? The hub of one of our favorite saying called pepper, done in Doma, Kiana, Apanga. These places we're talking about today, nobody goes to farm anymore. We say them because once the person that is involved in that is not your own person, you think they're discussing firewood. Until you lose somebody closer to you, then you know what it takes for you losing somebody. Life is irreplaceable. But in Nigeria here, I don't know whether we've gotten a photocopy to life. That we're now seeing it as when you lose the original, the photocopy might stand as a certified true copy. Even court will not collect photocopy in evidence here. I'm not a legal person. But that's how we're seeing life. And then you are looking at a generation that will come into see agriculture as a profession to go into, and then they will tell you, I'm not going to farm. Why will I go for the past 4.5 months, my wife has not been to my farm. She can't go to the farm. If I have to go to the farm, that means we must look for a serious arms to accompany him to the farm. From 63 staff, we have less than 28 staff in the farm because of insecurity. I have one of my fish pond experts who does all he does for us is strictly hatchery. Now he came in from Ibadan. Because if you are looking for good hands in terms of aquaculture, those who understand the dynamics and all that, you go to between Ibadan, Ogun and all that. They understand it, Bayelsa, Brimabri and all that there. So we got this young man here, within the age of 36, 35 and all that there. We came to Kaduna. He saw his life partner. In my own farm. So I'm very happy. Since we had quarters, people should stay. So they set out December as their wedding activities. I said I will support you. First of all, because we're not making much money this year, so you get a small jig chain from us, so that your wife will know that you are in a serious company. The man went back home for the wedding? For the introduction. Okay. They told him, well, please, this man you brought to marry you, where is he staying? They said, Kaduna. The elders wrote something on the paper. So what is he doing? They say he's an aquaculturist. He said, okay. Where will you people stay when you marry? They said, Kaduna. The elders wrote something. They said, well, our son, the only condition for you to marry this your love here is that first of all, you not stay in the north, anywhere near north. He said, okay, but that's where they are paying me. So, well, the life of our daughter will not be secured in that place you said you are working.
So that happened. That really happened to your staff.
Yes. So as I am here, we've lost my staff.
So he didn't come back.
He didn't come back. His wife is more important than my stupid job.